Yeah, absolutely. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you might be in the world. There's Ian, just joined us, which you wouldn't know, dear viewer, because you haven't been backstage with us.
And here's the other Ian plugging his chair again. Look at that.
Yeah, he's shilling his chair. Yeah, he's arriving. And you can see, oh, look at that. Not only does he have a cup of tea and biscuits, he has some sort of confectionery. And that truly must be the mark of a YouTuber that earns an absolute fortune. Because nobody else could do that sort of a thing.
It's all the deals with DJI that make him the money.
It is.
Yes.
It is. It's shilling that. Yeah.
They pay me to call them horrible words many, many times.
Absolutely.
Are we live? Oh, we're live. I'm going to be careful.
We are live. We're live, guys. If only you hadn't noticed. If only you hadn't noticed. What could you have said?
When you missed what happened when we weren't live, you know, I mean, you missed that. You know?
I got to get myself ready. I might turn the tracking off.
Turn the tracking off. Oh, there we are. Oh, it reveals what's occurring there.
Always being tracked.
Always being tracked. Good evening to everybody in the comments.
In the UK as well.
Bruce and I are. Oh, come on, you minor riots, minor.
I'm glad to see they let Ian out of jail in time for the show.
Yeah, you know, it wasn't too bad. It's been a weird week.
The meetings will continue until morale improves, right?
Well, I guess you know, I class myself as, you know, traditional. I'm probably as. My heritage probably goes back as far British, white, whatever as it probably goes, being from South Wales, interlined with sheep. And I, you know, Ian is a traditional Englishman as well. Yeah, I don't think either of us have found ourselves marching, Ian, on the injustices that we face. I think when you look at the people, you just think, why aren't they in work is what I thought, first of all.
You middle-class person.
Exactly, yeah. Again, I point you on the finger again, points to wealthy YouTuber. You know, it's all there. The clues are all there. He's one of the elite. He's one of the digital elite. That's what he is. Digital elite.
I should point out my background's Ukrainian origin.
Oh, well, there we are.
You're so good at drones. It's in your genes.
It's in your gene. Well, enough said about that. We really don't want to go down that avenue now. That's far too.
Having a drone in your genes can be very.
We really don't want to be going down that avenue. Yes. Now, as Mitchell's correctly pointed out, and funny enough, of course, I'm not actually ready. I should have that share screen ready to go. This is quite interesting. We should probably talk about drones. DIU and NSIN present Blue UAS Refresh Challenge. And anybody, well, before I scroll down, you can probably see at the bottom, anybody guess what they're looking for? Oh, yeah. First person view, group 1, 2, and 3 platforms, as well as components and capabilities that are all NDAA, of course. So I find that very interesting that there's a sort of a rush to get that out. Shall we try and pin the tail on the donkey of just how many years it'll take them to get any one of these systems out and working?
Yeah, because all the good chipsets come from China.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the blue lot took ages. The first couple of rounds took absolutely ages to actually get out in the field. So I reckon there's 18 months to 2 years there straight away. Which
it is interesting when you see the suddenly FPV drones are now the thing. You know, I saw a video pop up on my feed the other day of one smashing windows. You know, they're showing it going through and. Suddenly, you know, if you think about it, over the last sort of 5 years, it's all been geared of Mavic style equivalents is the term I'll use. You know, they weren't really Phantom style equivalents. They all pretty much look like a Mavic 2, that style of drone, gimbal camera on the front, folding arms, propellers, you know, so it was all very much a more industrialized version of the DJI. Now, suddenly, it's FPV. Now, suddenly, you know, all of these drones are FPV. There's nothing magical about them, but now it's small, fast. What the term might be being used is tactical drones, and that seems to be now where things are headed, as we've seen a number of brands get into. There are some interesting numbers published on FPV in the sense of when you look at the amount of activations. I believe there's some whispers roaming around on the activations of certain flight controllers in certain regions of the world, and it is incredible the numbers involved. Just incredible the numbers involved.
I know you don't buy them in less than 10,000. So, yeah, when you put your order in, it's 10,000, please, at least. What
is also interesting, the most popular one is a flight controller that had a number of issues, but I guess that's not important if you're using it one way.
No, absolutely. No. Yes, it's really, it can be, also what was interesting, and I didn't have it queued up, was that latest big attack over there of the shads, or whatever they're called. You know what I'm talking about. Most of them were dummy ones. So they're launching dummy stuff with just the very cheapest of flight controller and really rudimentary stuff inside it to get the Ukrainians to fire off as many rounds as they can at the dummies. So that's an interesting turn of events over there.
When it costs 10 times as much to bring one down as it does to make one, you can just exhaust their resources very quickly.
Precisely. That's precisely what they did. But the 89 that were shot down, most of them were dummies, nothing on them at all. So,
what is interesting on that, though, Gary, is the fact that China have now lifted the export restrictions. And so, we had this situation, didn't we, where you had the US talking about restrictions, and then China sort of out the blue very quickly went, we're going to restrict what can be supplied. And I'll be honest, it had very little real world effect on the drone industry that I can see. From our perspective, especially FPV, it didn't do anything. It just carried on as normal. But it is interesting that they've decided to lift that.
At the larger size, it did. It affected us. It's affected us here with the larger things. It got very hard to get them, and they were kind of but it was being got around in all sorts of ways. So they might have lifted it because it was pretty ineffectual in the end. Once the initial shock was over and people worked out how to get around it, it was pretty ineffectual. And they were even in the end, they were offering.
Sorry.
They were signing you off, as a net importer of whatever it was, and it was quite a simple bit of paperwork to do it.
There is an interesting rumor that one of the owners of one of the very biggest component manufacturers in FPV has been locked up in relation to supplying, but there's no evidence anywhere. It seems to be, I don't know how this starts from nothing, so there's got to be something in it. Do you know what I mean? No one just picks a name of a person and or a business and says their CEO or their owner has been raided and locked up for supplying stuff into Russia / Ukraine. So there must be something in it for this to have come out. There must be something must have happened, but I just don't know the truth behind it.
And you probably never hear about it either.
No.
Well, I was going to say, you prepared to name that name? I
better not name the company because it's unfair, because it is purely hearsay and rumor. It is a big name in FPV. It isn't one of the ones I deal with at all, so it's no company that I.
Not Drew Camden.
No, in China, but I do wonder where that's come from, and it's interesting. But as we all know, I guess the reality is the reason is probably a lot more complex, as you said just now. We'll probably never know, and the truth is, someone's probably upset someone over something somewhere if it has happened, and it's not as simple as being related to FPV.
What immediately came to my mind was, that's dull. That was supposed to be really smooth. Immediate claim to my click, and that was supposed to appear. That didn't happen. Was that they got very jiggy with it, as it were, when they were arresting the CEOs of the fake logo companies. The Chinese didn't hesitate to bang them up. And so I can imagine if you get on the wrong side of an order, then they will easily come.
Did we ever know what drove that Lego thing? Was there ever because let's be honest,
it was a Lego wanting to open in somewhere. We'll say Shenzhen, or they wanted to open a Lego world
enough
somewhere
influence
in China.
got upset over it, and then suddenly something was done. Yeah.
So I can imagine that this could easily have happened over there with a particular company for no other good reason than that particular company fell out. Oh, FPV saying anyone's seen Trappy recently.
No, it isn't.
No,
it's not Trappy, a Hong Kong-based company. It's a China-based company. So, it would be one of their own.
Grey Arrow's Drone Club mentioning that I saw that fiber optic drone testing in Ukraine. Yeah, nice. TV wire guided missiles and all that sort of thing is what came to my mind that used to wall up tanks. But that sort of thing's been around for years. Was any thoughts on that?
I don't think it's that viable because when they're hunter missions, they're not going point to point. They're actually moving around. Like you get tangled up in the trees, and if you're just firing at a target, that's fine. But if you're using drones as they are being used, where they're just surveilling an area, when they spot something, they go in. There's no application for it.
And that's very interesting that Kevin Finisterre, I don't know if he's in the comments, and other people are beginning to talk about how easy it would be to find people with those drone jammer guns, because you are standing there pointing a reversed arrow at yourself, aren't you, when you fire the thing?
The recoil could be enormous.
You are literally pumping out. You don't know the wattage, but I am guessing it is hundreds of watts of RF. I am guessing it is hundreds of watts of RF. There's no way they're going to be doing it on 25 milliwatts. 100. It's got to be a fair.
Wouldn't it be a breach of the regulations?
It's illegal in most places.
No, come on. The PP9's going to go flat real quick, isn't it? It's like the one they tested in Melbourne. Was it 2 years ago?
They used lithium.
Was going, oh, let's play with this. And they shut down the pits, didn't they? When they fired it.
It literally is, let's transmit across about 10 megahertz of space at 100 watts. That'll probably do it.
But they've been on AliExpress for decades. You can buy the gems for everything, with all the little aerials on the top. Are fantastic.
Well, when I was jammed once in Papua and West Papua, when they had fired the device, it had knocked out the Wi-Fi. It knocked out a lot of the TV cameras as well. So there were several TV cameras were knocked out. And Wi-Fi was knocked out for about maybe 20 minutes as well. So it really fried a lot,
I guess it's the kind of wipe, the noise you drop on the band, because you can cause ASICs to lock up and stuff. So if you get it right, you can do some pretty mangly stuff without a hardware reboot. You know what I mean? You can really send some stuff nastily. And look, the reality is you've only got to transmit on L1. Whatever the command and control. The reality is you've got to choose 5.8, 2.4, L1, 1500 megahertz, do 900, slap it all on those. You're going to wipe out everything. You're taking out GPS. It's going to land. You got the people who are taking command and control. There are systems out there that can do that with specific DJI systems. That is doable. That is not what these guns are doing. They all sit there and make it look like they're pointing it and landing it. What they're actually doing is wiping out GPS. So the drone's default behavior at that point is it can't return to home. So what will it do? It will land on the spot. And but it looks good in front of a big bunch of people, doesn't it? That you see.
Oh yeah. I mean, if you have that, well, we had it on. It was actually we were over water. I'll send you a video. I actually found a video of that one, and it was just horrible. But and there was a live broadcast, so everything was knocked out at the same time. But it really is horrible when it happens. And we were picking drones out of trees and out of roofs and stuff, for the next 2 days, So
what was that? A swarm?
Yeah.
Oh.
I'll send it to you.
We've seen that happen, eh? But we only need a couple more S-class solar flares and some CMEs, and it's a natural occurrence anyway.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose, but would you want to be stood in a battlefield with one of those guns,
What would
firing
work
it out.
well?
And
I wonder
What
where
would
the
worry
guy
me
is, and it's like if
He's
you
just-
had if you had a camera that could see RF, can you imagine it would just be this?
Oh,
big
hang on. Let me
glowing-
write. That's a venture capital idea.
Yeah,
Let me write
there
that
we
down
go,
quick.
yes.
Yeah, the
Full
RF
spectrum camera,
visualizing
that's what we
camera.
But I think that would be the good
visualize.
one for this, for let's say, like, this tethered drone. So if you could have something that you could control without having RF, if you have it on tether, you could put that up there. You could just, making sure that you don't have obstacles like trees and all the rest of it, and then that would work. It would give you, and those things could, they could stay up for,
Just like a balloon.
hours. Yeah,
If
yeah,
only there
yeah.
were
But much
systems
more
that-
expensive.
Yeah, but if only there were systems that you could program a mission on the ground. So in a set of events, you would say, right, do this, this, and this, and then upload it wirelessly whilst it was on the ground, and then just send it out without the need for a command and control signal. If only the technology developed to allow us to do that.
AI, mate.
Perhaps you
This
could
is what they're
use-
start throwing AI in these things. It's going to be fully autonomous
Yes.
once you let them go. They're on their own, and just hope they
What
don't
did I-
misidentify you.
Somebody on LinkedIn was banging on about how these F7 controllers will be able to run AI stuff. Just adding AI to the F7 controller.
There's only 2 letters. Doesn't take 2 bytes. 2 bytes.
It's true. It is only 2. You're right. You're right.
If you
I
want to use
stand
the full
corrected.
stops, it's 4 bytes. If you use the dots,
Yes, that's
But
right.
that's the advanced version.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
SOS takes a load of bytes up. Yes.
Yeah,
Oh.
there's gonna, I guess the next natural move, and you're probably going to see DJI do it next, which will scare a load of people, and it's going to take a bunch of additional processing on the ground station. But the next will be AI identification on
The
search and
Senate says
rescue.
they've got it. The US government says it already has facial ID and all that facial recognition built into the DJI drones. Sends it back to China. They send out the hitmen. No trouble. See,
Wirelessly.
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 That,
Yeah.
that guy on the roof with Trump, he was there wirelessly.
Yeah. Oh, hey, quick here. Moving on. Quick. See what you can do. See what you can do. Now, the other Ian, he's been volunteered by Philip Rouse to speak at DroneX in September, and he will be. What subject will you be speaking about at DroneX, Ian?
Oh, unsurprisingly, the Gatwick drone. So I might be the first controversial speaker there, I suspect.
First one to be ushered off stage and with scowly faces and pointing fingers. Just if there's a live stream, he can look and see if there's any red dots on his head
I was
while
going to
he's
say,
speaking.
do they have a perspex bulletproof thing you can be in? Can you ask
I think we should have a GoFundMe for let's say some good private security for Ian for that.
Well,
for
I
that
thought you were going to say
Yeah.
go for me for his funeral in advance, but that's
No,
not
I
no,
was
hard.
just say, yeah.
If you see them moving a grassy knoll into the room, run away.
Yeah, absolutely. Those already sloping roofs. Yes, so that'll be very exciting, and I think that's coming up in September, isn't it, Ian?
Yeah, I think it's 24th, 25th of September. It'll be one of the days. I don't know which yet. If I didn't even know it's happening, Philip volunteered me last week, and I only found out today because I got a call from Ben at 3DXR. Because someone did a question about Drone X saying, is it worth me going down for normal drone pilot that does normal roof inspections of video and whatnot? And it's like, well, no, not for that kind of thing, unless if you were going down to network, you'd be wanting to be selling a product.
Yeah.
Like software
I've gone every year.
Selling
And I'm
hardware.
probably not going to go this year. I've done every year for the last few years. I put a video out one year. I recorded loads of stuff last year and didn't even put it out. There is very little to see there other than a lot of stuff
Not this
that's
year.
never flown.
Yeah,
There's Ian.
Other than Ian.
This year,
Yeah.
there's Ian. This year, it's really worth going. There's Ian.
I'm
I
sure
must
I've
say,
seen the same aircraft in a cabinet that's never flown for the last 3 or 4 years. And yeah, I'm shocked anyone really does any real business there. I would love to see the numbers of because the price you pay for these stands is big. It's huge money. I'm shocked it's viable for anyone. I am shocked.
Yeah, it's not, and that's why I don't go. But it doesn't stop them phoning me once. It doesn't stop them phoning me once a week. I mean, I'm not joking. They phone me once a week. You know,
I mean,
why? You know,
I think for your bigger players, because obviously that's the reason why Philip's going there. You know, if you're selling hardware and it's to, you know, a larger section of the drone community, it's worth your while. If it's very niche what you're doing, it may not be the case. But yeah, it was with me posted about that. I got a call saying, "I take it you've not heard about Drone XN." I said, "Heard what?" And he says, "Oh, you're a speaker there." I said, "Oh, well, that's nice to know."
So is Philip paying for all your expenses and things? He's, you know, all the
champagne,
travel and hotels been sorted, good. So I won't be out of pocket. I'll just have to take 2 days leave off work, but I don't mind doing it.
Is Philip over for it this year? Is Philip over?
Yeah.
He is. Okay, that might be a reason to come down then.
I think there's Ben from 3DXR, and so I think there'll be quite a gang down there. So basically, I've got a set of bodyguards that if shots start getting fired, they can leap in front and save me.
Yeah, well, Louis giving you some stick in the comments. I don't think it'll be live streamed, Sparky, unless we could make a plan. We should better make a plan.
I'll find out if they're recording it, and
well, you've got a camera apparently. I believe you keep banging on about cameras. Surely they can.
Ian, make sure you wear red underpants and red trousers and top, just so the blood doesn't show.
I thought they only made cameras. They make underpants now.
Yeah.
Well, anyone with a mobile there could live stream it anyway, couldn't they? So maybe set a Philip or someone. Here you go.
Yeah, well,
if it's going to be Gatwick, they might be blocking the signal. You know. So
are you going to take an empty box and unveil the Gatwick drone?
That's a good idea. That's a brilliant idea. I will remind
Philip that he needs to do a stall scene, get a photo with a Gatwick drone, and just be an empty pedestal. That's what we need.
And an unboxing, as you just said, an unboxing of the Gatwick drone. Oh, look, there's nothing in here.
Just a glass box with nothing in it, just with a label on the back, the Gatwick drone.
And we could have a DJI Dock 2, and it could open up and reveal nothing.
Cliff really wants his pizzas delivered, doesn't he? He really just wants his pizzas delivered. There's more than once he's mentioned it in the comments. No, I think we will try and arrange a live stream then. Because that'll be in the middle of the night for Bruce. So that'll be great if we can try and get him on instead of it just being me in the middle of the night. That'd be fantastic. Although Steve must be on about the same time as me, aren't you?
Yeah. I'm. It's now 12:30 here. Yeah.
Oh, you're ahead of me. Even it's 11:30 here. So yeah. Okay. Oh. Yeah. Well, you're the king of the hill.
October here.
It's October.
Dateline.
I could really do with Bruce being there. So on the occasional sentence, he could jump in and shout out, "Allegedly."
In my honest opinion,
I say on the sentence, they're already going to take you down while you're there, are they? That's amazing. Yeah, that'll happen.
98% of the attendees will be defamation lawyers.
Yeah, maybe. What? So we've done DIU and NSIN. There was a job for Bruce that came up that I was going to put up. I immediately thought of him when I saw this. Actually, it would be a fun job, I think. The Jetson flight test pilots required.
I spoke to one of the test pilots. High, you know, Lexi Jensen?
Yes.
She was out here a few months ago, and I interviewed her. I must put that video up, actually. But, she had some interesting things to say about the company, which I can't repeat. NDA.
Oh, NDA. Oh, NDA. Oh, flashing. Who's flashing his NDAs around now?
What's he pay? I wouldn't do it in a million years, mate, but what's he pay?
Yeah, what's it pay, Gary? Come on.
I don't know. It doesn't say on there. You've got to have signed up for it. Just got to have all the qualifications. Well, I don't have the test pilot school stuff.
Does it include life insurance?
We know people that do. Well,
medical care.
I think this is a pretty cool looking one for what it is. And funny enough, I think Philip's desperate to have one.
You say cool looking one. You could say that about
Yeah.
a few coffins.
Yeah.
It's
like
a
an
leg
e-hang
shredder.
without a bubble. It's an e-hang without a bubble. That's
It's a
all it is.
leg shredder. Come on.
Oh, come on! You're in a frame there. Unless you're getting in and out with rotors running.
It'll
Yeah,
hold
I
all
know.
the pieces of you together.
It'll hold all the pieces together, absolutely. And it should come in red, shouldn't it? Really.
It should come in
So there was
bright
that
red.
one. There was bright red. There was that one, and then there
I
was
must admit,
this.
What I would like
mate.
to do with that Jetson thing is apply for the job for some sort of management position there for the test pilots. Wait until the test pilot's in, and then say, "Oh, I don't know if you know, but we had a bit of a problem today. We had an IMU problem with the flight controller, so we just put in a DJI NASA. I hope you don't mind." And then just watch the panic.
Enjoy your trip back to China.
Well, I've forgotten what was that thing at Goodwood called again?
Oh yeah,
The nanos, the
Airspeeder.
airspeeder. Yeah, that didn't even have a NASA in it, did it?
I think Lexi worked for them for a while too, didn't she? When Australia, didn't she?
Did
work
she?
in Australia for those people? Yeah, she's sort of done the rounds of the people in this arena.
Yeah, no, it's no good. And this one, if you're in the UK, the Diana Challenge is also an interesting robotics challenge that's out there. So suddenly the military is keen on all sorts of places.
Look how far we've come.
Sorts of places.
Remember when DARPA had that desert challenge where you had to have an autonomous vehicle across the desert, and it was so hard. And now, my goodness, here we got Tesla provided. You can drive from one side of America to the other with Tesla self-drive. You never have to touch the wheel, apparently. Elon was telling us in 2017.
So he did. And Richard providing the towers at Farnborough. And I would love if they would release the data from that. I would love to see.
In New Zealand, you'd have to have a Part 71 for that because it would be intruding into airspace. You'd have to have a you have to go to CAA and get a Part 71 so that you can have a structure that tall.
Oh, it'll be lit at the top, but it'll be a temporary feature. And I bet there was a NOTAM for that. I don't know where it was based. Oh, it must be near the. There's a tower. That's not Farnborough Tower in the background, but yeah, it would have been NOTAM, but temporary structure. No dramas. But it's interesting that they changed the tone to detect and avoid platform. I thought that was interesting. There, we must get Richard on to tell us.
That's the nomenclature that the FAA is using, isn't it?
Yeah. It used to be.
They allow Walmart and Wing to fly beyond visual line of sight. The only detect and avoid they've got is ADS-B. So all I've got is ADS-B.
I know.
They were saying must have a positive. Oops, hang on, my phone.
Yeah. It's that NDA. And it was airspeeder. Yeah, it was airspeeder at Goodwood. And Louis saying, wasn't it supposed to Paris? It's absolutely Paris is supposed to be full of VTOLs now. And I heard a new. I heard a new. What was it? It worked out like, but what's a regional? Regional RAM, regional air mobility. Now they're saying drone air mobility. DAM. So yeah. So I wonder why that one hasn't caught on. But yeah, a new acronym. So that must be
rammed if you do, damned if you don't.
Hey, there you go. He's got the headline immediately. And then speaking to the things we were, I stopped. That was going so well. Where is it? This one. Remember, we keep talking about wouldn't it be easy to set up networks for detecting RID and all these other sorts of things? Well, there's RID's one that you can use out to 16 kilometers with the Bluetooth stuff. So if you want that sort of
company
thing,
that was selling devices you could put in your house to warn you of approaching drones, they were going to network it all across the country and all that stuff. Whatever happened to them, I wonder?
Yeah, what were they called?
I'd have to look through old videos. I did a video on it, and I said it's ridiculous.
There's one that's causing big dramas by being a big Ponzi scheme. It's another one where you collect Bitcoin for detecting stuff, and loads of people have bought the receivers. And guess what? They've not. That's in America. There's one in America that people are getting very angry about. It's probably another version of them. So I thought that was interesting. That era bits. So that was really the stories. Go on, mate.
One thing, Gary, which I've been meaning to ask you for a few days now. I can't find a search on your website. There's no search button. There's no search. I've been searching
I might have
for
taken it off.
You might have. I think you've taken it off because I was trying to search for things the other day and I couldn't find it. So I meant to say to you, where's your search?
Just nothing with it. Exactly.
Hang on
a minute. There'll be at some stage where I've taken it off for some reason or other because it broke. Now I need the 2-factor authentication, and I can't. Well, my phone's upstairs. I'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah,
I'll do it tomorrow. I'll add it back in. You're absolutely right. I forget these things. So what else have we? Oh, I know what I was going to ask. Well. Ian was there, Ian in Wales, and Bruce, and anybody else really, anybody in the chat. If I wanted to buy a digital system, FPV system now for a fixed-wing aircraft, what is the flat cheapest at a value point that makes it worthwhile? Not the cheapest, but one that's worth buying. But what would be the cheapest thing to buy right now? And there's just two parts to that.
Do you really want the cheapest?
Cheapest digital.
No, not the cheapest. The best low cost. Yeah.
Best low cost would be the new Avatar goggles, which are $199 or 150 quid in the UK, and their VTX, which is about another 100 with a camera. You can go all in for $299. And that will do.
Or what camera do you get for that?
It will give you a standard FPV camera capable of 1080p. And that system has no range limit and will fly, and it has been proven to go up to 54 kilometers.
Okay.
But only if it's that far away.
Yeah.
And I didn't mean to do this, but I realized I've inadvertently said if only there was a website that allowed me to select parts as required. And if I go off, I honestly didn't set this up, but it's just struck me. And Stu from UAV Futures will be with us next week to talk about his new website that does exactly that. Mr. Bardwell.
Can we get Joshua Bardwell on as well?
There we go. That's it. I know.
I've got to stick up for Stu because I'm Australian, so I'll be on Stu's side, and you can be on Bardwell's
side.
Fair enough.
Oh well, thank you very much. Oh, that's really great of you.
I saw the video
thank
the
you
other
very
day.
much indeed.
I saw the video the other day. I think the concept's interesting. I think Stu's doing a lot of work there that some manufacturers are already doing, and so if you take some of the best flight controller brands, they will literally create a document that shows you all of that already, but not all of them do. So, he's doubling up on some work that some people are already doing, but I sort of get what he's trying to do. I think the part which will be very hard is, and it will almost be impossible, is keeping it up to date. The flight controllers get crapped out of China every 20 minutes. Motors, not so much. VTXs, ESCs, the digital hardware, not so much, but there are elements that will change so fast. You will be updating the website continuously. As someone who does run a little bit of a website, it's not easy to keep on top of it. Even the wiki, I put the wiki together to share stuff.
Even having search, for instance.
Yeah. I guess with all of these things, and this is no criticism of Stu, I don't know, look, okay, so JB has involvement in a website that has links to vendors and vendors, retailers, where you can buy products, and he gets a kickback from that. He's been very open about that. He's never hidden that fact. That is what it is. I don't have anything on my wiki. I don't know what Stu's plan is. It looks really interesting, but I don't know what the plan is. I guess
next week you'll find out.
Yeah, next week we'll find out. And I don't know, is it just purely informational, or is it designed to drive an income? And this is where things always get murky for creators, and this is someone with my own experience, is when you do that crossover. It's when you move that. having
But
you have Patreon, you have
creators like that anymore. You've got not only tea, but you've got a packet of biscuits and a chocolate there. So you're plainly in the realm.
I'm in the realm of rich and famous. Yeah. You know, look, I don't know Bruce's stance because Bruce has done this far longer than any of us. I don't have any Bruce merch. I don't know if Bruce ever made merch.
No.
I've avoided it. I did a couple of one-off things like the ruler, which wasn't merch. It was designed just to be a bit of a pet project. But creators also need to make money, and people should accept that's a reality. Bruce does this full time. It is still your full-time income, Bruce, isn't it? I'm guessing if you were, you'd be in a very different position if you were in your 40s with 2 kids.
Absolutely.
So if you were in my position or others, then you have to make an income, and every creator needs to. People seem to think YouTube should be free or content should be free, and it shouldn't. But how you monetize that is where it all gets murky, and that's the hard part,
And it's got a lot murkier in the last couple of years, isn't it? YouTube doesn't,
YouTube has forced creators to take on other revenue streams. There was a stage I was living very comfortably, just solely off my revenues, and I had good, I was living a nice, comfortable lifestyle. But since then, my revenues have dropped dramatically, and everyone's has on YouTube, because YouTube is chasing its profit, not the creator's profit. They want its profit. And so as a result, they've forced people like Mr. Beast to go out there and do what he's doing, and other people
Mr. Beast for prison. Mr. Beast for prison.
Not violate their principles, but bend them quite a bit in some cases, because it's that survival. It's just a survival.
Well, there's a great example of Linus Tech Tips. For those who watch it, he has something called merch messages on his live stream, right? So if you buy something, he'll put the message up on the screen. He clearly has more margin on the store after paying for the product and shipping it to you than he has you giving him a super chat.
I was going to say those super chats are one of the worst things out there, because people don't realize that the YouTuber I can't remember. It's a really low percentage of that super chat.
Yes, it's about half. It's about half. I think it is less than half. Because remember that pound someone gave you, Gary? How much you got? Like 20p, didn't you?
Remember that Bitcoin you had, Gary?
Sometimes we're up to a whole dollar in a month.
What I saw Stu's video the other day, because he's posting so much at the moment. He's one of the ones that just keeps popping up on my feed because he's really back into it, which is great.
I had to block him.
Yeah, daily, absolutely daily. But look, I've been watching his live stream cuts as well, and he's doing a great job on that. And I saw the website and thought, that's interesting, that's cool. I don't know if it's planned to be monetized. I don't know if it's just informational. I don't know what.
He did speak about it in a recent video.
Did he? Okay, I haven't.
Yeah,
I saw bits of it.
I think it's going to be arrangements with some of the vendors and things. So I suppose, but he welcomes other people to put their affiliate links up there.
Yeah.
So as you say, it's very interesting. It's very difficult to see. You have to have very, very low overheads to run the kind of model I think he's talking about. But as I say, next week we'll discuss it all and we'll pillory him and we'll
talk to him next week.
Yeah.
And the more
set him off. What are we telling you? That's not very nice.
And the more the better.
Nice.
No one has a monopoly on affiliate links and how or what you should do or where you should use them and the right way to run a website and not the right way. There is no right or wrong way to do it. There is just what your community feels is right, and that's all you can run with. And the bit I really liked the look of was the sort of builder and stuff like that, because that looks cool. That does look cool. I think
that's what I thought. That's what I thought.
He slipped in the name. He slipped it in. He's advertising.
He did. That's what he's good, isn't he? He's good, isn't he? He's good.
I envy anyone. I tell you, the person I don't know how he does it is Oscar Lian.
Yeah, he puts a lot of effort in.
How he does that. That website. Someone told me, and I don't know if it's true, that it has over 1 million entries. I don't think it's pages, but it's over. It's got over like 1 million. How he does it, I have no idea. It's incredible.
The thing that worries me is that our market is actually contracting. I think the FPV quadcopter market is much smaller than it was 5 years ago.
Oh, it's over. It's
the boom. We're out of the boom. So even if you create something that has a model that will make you a profit, will it make you enough profit to make it worthwhile?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that is the hard one. When I set up the wiki, I paid for 7 years in advance. which was
7
just
years.
so I know
Was that
it's
your
it's covered.
Chinese lucky number or something. Why did you do that? Why
Eight
did
is
you
the
pick
lucky
a
number.
7? Is it? Yeah.
It's and it is hard, and it's and then it's keeping that data relevant. Even the wiki is hard. DJI released the update for 03 a couple of weeks ago, and I'd forgot I had to go back in there and make some minor edits on that just to get that done. And it's a constant battle, but if you got the time and you got the ability to do it and keep it going forward and offer something, then it's only a good thing.
I'll have another tracking. No, we're packing up. We're going home. The parties, as ever, Bruce ate all the nibbles and drank all the.
Right.
You know what he's like.
And the keg is empty.
You know what he's like.
No, he's hanging around once the keg's empty.
Absolutely.
No, it is interesting because I've been looking at I keep a very close eye on all the other YouTube channels, and the number of views people are getting are way down still. You probably noticed it, Ian. It's really, it's like a good video does like 1,500, 2,000 views these days. It's like, it used to be like 10, 12, 15,000.
I
not
think,
my channel, but other channels.
Yeah, and look, my content is still very eclectic. So in the sense of I have the core, but then I'll do something dull.
Is that a synonym for crap?
Yeah, and then I'll do something like this which gets no reviews. I don't hem myself in. Look, most of it is FPV, but if I think a product's interesting, I'll talk about it. It can be the video. What I have found is there are days and weeks. I was putting out 2 or 3 videos a week at one point, and I can't do that anymore. I just can't. It's not possible. I'm literally down to 1 a week now, max. There'll be a few more than 1 this week because I've had a bit more time, and it is though, as you say, the views are down. I'm lucky that, as you have, Bruce, I've got to the stage where I have that much back content now. The next 10 videos not doing well really doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't affect me. And the one thing that's grown massively is live streams. I'll be honest, the live stream has taken the legs of its own. It's taken years to do it. But I'm now getting on some of my live streams good video view numbers over like a month, which is crazy for like a 2-hour thing, But you're not making money on YouTube. The truth is, and especially in FPV. And I think you're going to see a lot of people leave. You're going to see a contrast. You're already seeing it. The monetization of FPV has happened. The war, the military stuff, it's all the same thing. It's the monetization of how are people going to make an income.
I've let you in on a secret. I've been pretty quiet of late with videos and things. So I've been working very hard on a transition, not to the beauty vlog, but to more of a project-oriented stuff where, because I can see a revenue stream. If you can create a project and provide a link to the resources and people can build the project and they get some value out of it, then I don't see a problem with making money on selling that project stuff. So I've been working heavily on a lot of project stuff. So I'm hoping that as the weather cools in the Northern Hemisphere and people are stuck inside, they'll go, what can we do? Let's build something. Oh, look at this. Here's a project from RC Model Reviews, and I could use that. So hopefully I can provide more value in that respect, because as you probably know, Ian, that the review space is just cluttered and full of people. A lot of them just shilling product.
And I've, I did 3 things in the last 12 months. I've always been very clear and open, and I'll take criticism. Bruce is the one person I always listen to, in the sense of if he thinks I'm doing something wrong, Bruce is the one. Bruce knows what I tend to say at the start of the content, and I say it at the end, and I try to make it as clear as I can. I have had this for free. Here will be an affiliate link if I use it. I can't really do any more than that. It is, though, soul destruction. The review space is, you'll get, like, right now we've just had 2 new radios come out. Okay, so they're okay, they're decent. There's nothing. They're good radios, but there's nothing new here. There's nothing groundbreaking. Did you get the pink, Bruce? It suits your eyes. It's a good radio, though, isn't it? It's not bad. It's not a bad radio.
Did you find the Easter egg?
Did I find the what?
The Easter egg.
No.
Oh, we'll have to watch my review.
Oh, Bruce has found it.
No one else has found the Easter egg that I've seen so far. Oh. But AliExpress has got this. Guess what the price they put on it?
What do they do?
$778, marked down to $256.
Wow.
That's New Zealand dollar, so halve that for pounds.
It's and as you say, Bruce, a review is quite a boring thing. You're going over the same things. I've been doing. I tell you what is really interesting right now is the amount of gimbals coming out for FPV.
Glad you mentioned that. I
They're
want
everywhere.
to
I've been
talk to you
driving
about
with
that.
them today.
Have you now? Well,
Yeah.
This when Bruce said projects, I immediately thought of Crunch Labs that my children watch and the boxes, and he does a summer camp series. It's so clever. It's so clever. You probably missed this Crunch Labs thing, Bruce, but you should have a look at that. That's how to cleverly do
I'm doing
YouTube
adult STEM.
and projects.
Adult STEM. Adult
Well,
STEM
that's
is what we
yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's exactly what this is. It's. If have you seen Crunch Labs?
No, I
Bruce?
haven't actually.
No.
Have a look. Have a look. This is precisely what you're thinking about. Obviously, to the younger market, but have a look. Crunch Labs. It's very good, and the programs are great as well. They really are good. I use them at school, but they're very good.
That saves you a bit of work, doesn't it, Gary?
What's that? Oh, absolutely. Of course. Yeah. Come on. Put a video on. Come on. Yeah. I'm the teacher that wheels the TV into the class and then sits down at the back.
You're a very important man.
Exactly. We're going to push the TV. No, we don't have to push them in anymore. But yeah, no, exactly. No, he explains science very nicely. And it's very exciting.
There is a great electronics kit for kids that actually helped me in some things. That it's like a mechanical one that shows you how an inductor works, a capacitor works, but it does it mechanically. And you know, an inductor is quite a complex thing when you don't fully understand it, that it resists. It resists. Yeah, it's a flywheel. Yeah, Bruce. And it's just how it breaks it down. And then you see it and you just go, I get it now.
Did anyone here have the Philips electronic engineer kit set when they were a kid? I had the EE8, and then I bought the bits and made it into an EE20. They were brilliant.
I can't remember. And Tandy had some as well. I can't remember what they were called.
Oh,
and in Australia, Dick Smith had a whole lot of stuff. So,
are we going to talk anything about the DJI leaks that seem to be coming? Because there's a bunch of
new drone. It's a brilliant drone.
I've got 3 actually.
They look awful. A lot of them look absolutely awful, and they
have
don't
a lot of
look
product
like
in flight. And I don't mean in the air, but I mean in they have about 5 products that are due to land in the next 2 months. They're certainly banging through some stuff at the moment. I don't know if that means they're not worried about the US ban or what, but they're definitely doing a lot. The Mavic 4. It will be 4. Let me get the numbering right. It looks interesting. The new an entirely new gimbal design.
It still looks like it's in prototype though.
Yeah, that one had an aluminium base which didn't look quite right and some stuff, but they don't take long to get the DJI hardware wise. They usually, I don't expect that to change too much. I've actually got some prototype DJI stuff here, and generally they decide pretty early on the hardware, a lot of the time too early, because they peg themselves into corners they can't get out of. But then you've got the A3 or the A3S from the look of it, maybe an A4, we don't really know. You've got this new Neo, which is an Avata 2 Mini. It's basically an Avata 2 Mini is basically what it is.
Kit there for you. I thought that was the kit you'd have to release the smoke.
I've got that one. It's got a USB port on it.
That's exactly.
And then we've got the new action camera, which is coming, which will push GoPro. I do wonder how long GoPro can keep going.
It's the name. It's the name. People buy them on the brand.
That sort of depends if they want to go if they want to go back into drones, if this DJI ban goes through eventually, you know. So you kind of think that they're sitting in the wings again.
There's not that many people called Brad, though.
I don't understand. I don't understand that comment.
Yeah, but they're trying to say, you know, how often do you buy? I haven't bought a GoPro for 5 years. You know, you don't buy one every year. You don't. It's not like an iPhone where you get the latest and greatest and upgrade. Most people only get a new one because they've lost it, destroyed it, or never had one before. You know, it's not that many people do it in the upgrade cycle.
Yeah, but I think there's enough people in the world that don't have them, and the brand definitely sells. And if you say action cam, I should think most people on the street would instantly think GoPro, wouldn't they? They've cornered that.
A7S3.
Exactly. There
Yeah.
you go. Exactly.
They are doing okay, man.
Exactly.
This subscription model of theirs isn't doing too shabby when you look at it. You know, I'm just looking at their profit. Their 2023 revenue was $1 billion. 3 million camera units sold, up 6% year on year last year. Subscriptions grew 12%. The subscription model was very interesting.
That's the other model for YouTubers, stroke website, stroke everything, isn't it? A subscription. I'm not sure. And then subscribe emails and all that.
Interesting
sort of
things
thing.
going on at Odyssey. Speaking of YouTube,
I mean,
I haven't been following it, Bruce. What's been happening?
Odyssey. I long time ago, I don't know if I mentioned it on here, but I came up with the plan that what we should have is a whole lot of individual hosting sites where videos are hosted, sort of network together, and then as another layer, you have the platforms where you have like companies can just set up and say, I want to set up a equivalent to YouTube. I can then create the framework and I can pull videos off all those separate platforms and create my own interface to it, and I can monetize it, do whatever I like. And this is what Odyssey is doing now. They're separating the network from the front end. So the front end, anyone can set up a YouTube and they'll be able to access videos on the distributed network of videos that are out there. And you can then set up your own monetization processes and things. And so that when you put a video into this network, it can appear on any one of the platforms that choose to use the network. It's a brilliant idea because it gives so much flexibility. And I'm glad to see they're running with it. What I also suggested was that because you'll need to keep your network growth along with the growth of the platform, that you set up a SD card download, put it in Raspberry Pi, plug it into your fiber router, and suddenly you've expanded the bandwidth and the storage capacity of the network as you go along. So every time a creator joins the network, they set up a Raspberry Pi and they've added to the whole network. So it grows organically with demand. And that way you don't have the bottlenecks and the costings that usually come along when someone starts a small business and it takes off and booms.
I've just logged in because remember years ago we did it. We all signed up to it, and I've got 7.56 whatever they are.
Yeah, I'm trying to sign in now. That's what I'm trying to do, guy.
I cashed out.
Did you cash out?
Bought myself a coffee.
I've got 7.56189,300 stat things bananas. Total received $0 cash balance.
How many have you got, Kat? 7.
Yeah. Well, you've got thousands, have you?
No, I got 0.2.
Oh. Well, you see, I mean, far be it from me to say.
Yeah, but I was there before you. How does that work?
Just lucky,
because my chairs would. That's what you see. I don't shield chairs, so you actually strip out. I've got 7.5519 immediatty spendable and 7.5618.
I might not be in the right account.
Oh no! I thought. Oh, here we go. He's going to say, "Oh, such a small number."
No, I'm not. I'm in the wrong one. Right. Let me see if I can get into
there we are. That's your OnlyFans. You're looking at your OnlyFans. Now, I do want to. Whilst I won't have any. Whilst we are doing
I've got 30
now,
credits. I've got 30 now. Oh, look at that.
Oh, there you go.
Woo.
30 wiggly signed things.
30.25.
Here we go. I was in on the wrong account.
Oh, here we go then. All right then, go on.
How many did you say you got? 7.
7.5. Yeah.
I got 2,708.
The beers are on Ian. Yes.
I don't know what it's worth now though, because it did go up, but then it completely fell to the floor, didn't it?
The FTC ruled.
I don't even know what it is.
Thing.
Yeah.
Well, that was
some sort of laws, some sort of
something or other credits or something or other. They're a token, a crypto thing.
Yeah. So what is it worth today? Is it even worth anything today?
I don't think it's worth anything because the American government ruled that it was an illegal securities thing.
Yeah, that's happened with all crypto. Yeah.
So never mind. At least it's crypto blockchain. Maybe there's some AI in there later on. We don't know.
Absolutely. Now, let's go back to what I want to talk about, which is drones and stuff. The gimbals, that you've been reviewing. That's 48 cents. Thanks. Well, that's
cheers, Stu.
That'll buy most of New Zealand, won't it? Cushions. These gimbals are they any good? And that brings me around to the what keeps coming back, and the reason why I'm asking about what would. And Stu, you missed the lead in. I inadvertently led into talking about your site. I had carefully planned it. That's what I'd done. I carefully planned it. But let me share another thing here. We have been having where is it? There it is. Lots and lots and lots of runaway fires. This one was just across from my house this afternoon. Watch that go. I live over here, so luckily the water kept on at bay. Yeah, there's. I'll show you my house. Oh, can I zoom in? No, that's as far as my house is. Gary. It is a very big pool, yes. But I'll just point out, this is a really cool thing. If you live in a fiery area, the NASA system that it sends me an email. Look, Africa's a little bit burny in the middle. It's just a little bit burny as Africa. If you go to the rest of the world, it's a very cool system. About 3 hours notice, or 3 hours, and it triggers the alarms. But I get an email and can keep a handle, and it's a free service. So this is a long-winded way.
Something's on fire. You get an email. Something is burning. Be aware.
Something is burning. Well, so this time of year particularly, over here is really hot. You can swim in the Indian Ocean, and there is snow up here. And the wind in August rushes down to get down there. And it can really crack on a bit. So if you've got a fire, I don't know, 20, 30 k's up the road, you've got to have it in mind. And every year, I think I wish I had something that I could just go and fly down the lines and see what's happening. So my next question on that FPV thing was, those Starlight cameras aren't thermal at all, are they? They're purely image. Yeah, that's what I thought. So thermal would be too much, but what do they look like?
They're fine.
But what would a fire look like? A bright light in it?
A fire would be reasonably bright, but not like an infrared bright.
No.
Yeah.
You're right. One of the thermal ones, as long as there was lighting, it would. They do work in 0 lux, but a bit of light helps a lot.
Or some washing up liquid.
Absolutely.
No.
Absolutely. Yeah.
The gimbals work well. There seems to have been a bunch of them hit the market, and I had it on one of my crawlers today on the beach, and I am shocked just how good it worked, considering. Do you know what I mean? I don't really know what's suddenly driven the market to want to release loads of gimbals for small FPV cameras.
I wonder what could be happening. I wonder what could be happening in the world that might have a requirement.
Which would be handy, being able to, I don't know, look around from underneath an aircraft of some form, you know.
So now you just want a 7-inch long-range drone with a gimbal on it, FPV drone, and an iNav, and you've got your perfect drone setup.
Drone setup
without having DJI involved.
Yeah.
And what sort of money are those little gimbals going for? And I think one of them had a Starlight camera on it, didn't it?
You put one on. Cardex do a Starlight, which is very good, which is fine. DJI do have an almost 0 lux for the DJI system released by Runcam, the Night Eagle. Can't imagine why they would release a camera that is only black and white and works largely at night. I can't imagine what market
they did say, though, that the standard Eagle was as good as the Night Eagle after a while, and it does color.
And that does color as well. Yeah. So
really,
and it's a good camera. Actually, I quite like it.
Yeah, they're good enough. You can fly with them in the dark. It's just extremely grainy. That's
if in a full moon, it's fine. I've flown mine. I got one over here with one of the Night Eagles. Then I fly that in a full moon, and it's brilliant. Yeah. If you get in a shaded area, you can't see anything where there's no moonlight. But when you're out there in the full moonlight illumination, it's really good. Yeah. The big thing is it takes a hell of a lot of rearranging your brain to fly in black and white. I was surprised.
Yeah.
The color cues from blue sky, green grass to grey. It's kind of takes a lot getting used to.
Yeah.
Lose your depth
possession. It's the same. Well, it's the same as night vision goggles in crewed aircraft. That's why you have to have training to use them in the green. You can't just put them on and expect for it to work. Well, and on the serious side, as somebody in Johnny's saying, he's been in a TFR, and on the serious side, I think about 10 firefighters have already died locally this year. So it's a serious. It's not cool when it goes. And we had a big runaway one 2 weekends ago, 3 valleys over, and that quickly got into some forest and went. And the ability to go down the side and more properly tying in with things like ATAC and getting it mapped on the ground. There's nothing in the cheap space for live laying down of stills images yet, is there? There's nothing that will throw down stills rather than be a video feed and clamp them to the ground. There is in the military space, but I don't think has anyone seen anything in the civvy space doing that?
Not really, no.
Yeah, that's the sort of thing. That's where my head's been at, and so that's what caused that question about FPV earlier, because I ought to try digital FPV once. Just once. It was
interesting. Someone put a video up the other day comparing analog. Was it Grim Reaper? No, it wasn't Grim Reaper. It was someone else. And they had their top quality analog system and the Zero HD or whatever it is. And the analog just ate it. Ate it for breakfast. A really good analog system, actually, with a good strong transmitter and a high quality camera. They're really still quite good.
Yeah, well, you're pumping in 1200 TV lines, aren't you, Bruce, on a good one? That is 720p resolution. 1200 lines is 720p, 720 down anyway. Above on that, and you're pumping a lot in. It really then comes down. I suspect a lot of it actually is goggles as well. I think something I haven't done is gone and had a look at how good one of these analog cameras looks on a new, like the HD0 goggle with a nice 1080p display, which is OLED. Yeah. Because all of the other goggles were limited to 720p displays before. And okay, you had the high-end HDOs and the Skyzone 04Xs, which looked very good. Yeah. It's the noise that got me the last time I flew analog. It's
the interesting thing, comparing the analog to the digital, the breakup on analog I've always found to be far more manageable. It's more progressive, and even when you've got 95% snow, you can still see stuff. But with HD0, when you've got the mosaic quilt there, you can't see a damn thing. That kind of scares me a bit. And sometimes it pops up so damn quickly. And this guy was flying behind buildings and things.
You're only missing when you have breakup on analog, you are missing a line or a series of lines in a part of the image.
Sometimes just a pixel.
Just a pixel, yeah. You're not dropping out, but it will, even if you have like a 10 lines, let's just say you miss 10 lines, it's going to carry on from where it was. And this is the problem with digital is you've thrown everything into a bucket, you've mixed it all up, and you're trying to throw it back out the other side. And even HD0 is close to analog in the way it works it still isn't line by line, loss by loss. You still get this random pixelization effect all over the display.
And if you're flying low and fast, I would much rather have a rapid updates that are real time than a delayed 300 milliseconds behind the curve and suddenly you're hitting a tree.
HD0 should be, the 90 especially is incredibly low latency. It's 14 milliseconds and it's just streaming. It's just firing.
This guy commented that the HD0 had less latency than the analog, which is probably true because the analog cameras are not as fast.
No, because you're 30 frames a second, 60 fields a second, aren't you? And that's the big difference. Yeah. Funny enough, I was looking up, I've had the HD0 analog HD camera on the spectrum analyzer and having a look at it, and it is very interesting. It's basically
is that the one that you showed with the massive bandwidth, as it were, big spikes, and that's one you showed on your stream the other day.
That is something else.
That was a 2-watt thing.
Yeah, what was interesting on the analog HD is because HD0 have a very small VTX, this one here, which has analog HD rather than digital. So it's an that used to work. It's an analog camera, but it's analog HD 720p. And what is actually very interesting is when you look at it, if you compare, because I confused myself here. I haven't done this for so long. Look, if you're looking at it compared to an analog camera, I was counting the lines going, wait a minute. I've got the same amount of lines virtually on my analog camera. Why? This camera's high resolution, but I had a 1200 TVL camera, Bruce. So I was looking at a camera that was banging out basically equivalent resolution because I'm looking at what the camera is pumping out, not the video signal. So I then had to go scrambling through a drawer to go and find something from about 10 years ago that wasn't pumping out high lines, but it's the same signal. There's, it's, you still got the back porch, the front porch, the color burst. It's all
just a composite video.
It's the same. All they actually do is increase the frequency to cramming more lines in the same amount of frames.
The slew rate goes up, so it goes down. Which way we look at it.
It's a video I want to put out eventually, but it's one that's taken me a while because every time I looked at something, I was like, why is this not doing what I expected it to? And then I forgot that these new cameras are not 576 or 480. They're actually
like
12.
the good old days. Oh,
yeah. As you have said many times, Bruce, our limitation on analog isn't the cameras. We all have, all these cameras do 1200 TVL. So they're all, you don't even need analog HD. They're all basically analog HD now. Our problem is the video transmission systems.
Yeah. If we could get a transmitter that did double 2-channel transmission, double the bandwidth of the video signal, you can get some really good footage.
Yeah.
With a nice progressive breakdown.
I think this is the fire that.
Well, if it's really cold, Gary, why don't you just go and stand by the fire?
Let's just go and stand by the fire. Yeah, absolutely.
Stop your whinging, snowflake.
So you're telling South Africa is you're either going to freeze to death, burn to death, get shot, or starve to death because you don't have electricity, or
be eaten by your pets.
Yeah. All of the above. All of the above. Yes, it's it makes for an interesting life, doesn't it? Makes for an interesting world. That's probably all you deserve, sort of a thing. Ian's been very, very quiet.
He's waiting because just when you say, and if there's nothing more, then
and nothing more. Yeah.
He's writing his speech.
The second half.
He's writing his speech. He's writing this speech, yes. Yeah, the second half, that's right. So, I know there's been some freedom of information requests gone in. Are any allowed to be spoken about, or are we?
Yes, I'll put two in the private chat for you so you can.
Oh, there we go. I see he was waiting like a coiled spring.
Oh, I'm always prepared.
Always, well, that's no qualification to be here, that's for certain. This one, the shooting down of the Mini 2. Where's this one gone?
Yeah, I think we talked about this recently, but
we did last week. Yeah,
it's progressed again because it's gone for internal review, which is basically you get your reply back first, and if all goes well in the world, which it rarely does, you'll get the answer like you should do, but often you'll get a pretty rubbish response, and then you can go, well, I want to escalate it to internal review, and it's then reviewed by somebody else, and then you're supposed to get closer to where you need to be. But I've had this. This was a really terrible one because it's gone on so long. It was 6 months since I asked for the internal review before I got it, and literally all they've done is said, "I agree that it's exempt from personal information." And I thought, this doesn't sound right because I'm not asking for any personal information. No, I'm not asking for the people's name, addresses, date of birth, and so on. I thought this can't be right. But I did an argument anyway, generally here, saying that, oh, wait a minute, the ICO say you not only, if you use this section 40 personal information, you've got to say why. And they hadn't said why. So I put this initially, and then I went on to argue generally that there's been no acknowledgement of the public interest in that if you're allowed to shoot down drones, that puts the delivery by drones at risk because people are going to think they could take pot shots at drones and so on. Yeah, and I made mention of that.
You're going to put that line in every time now, aren't you?
Yeah,
that's your new favourite line. Yeah.
Yes.
Very good.
This all comes back actually to the Nolan principles, which we mentioned even back before this duty of candor came along. It's basically just saying public servants, you shouldn't be blagging people, essentially. But you have to keep reminding them. And I just mentioned some other bits of the ICO when I was looking there, but I only had so much time for this reply. This was on the weekend, and I came back to it on a lunch break. I thought, no, I'm sure that I'm right that this isn't personal information. So the next one down is me adding to it, which it turns out I'm bang on. Even though this has gone up to internal review, it should be somebody that really knows what they're doing, and they shouldn't be blagging you. It turns out that there's a definition for the personal information. If you scroll down a bit further for personal data, and it's exactly what kind of stuff I thought. So this is the ICO definition. So it's got to be. Oh, you got too far. It's a little bit up there. Yeah. Here, so it's A and B there. So it's got to be name, location, data. It's good that it puts location data because that brings us back to RID and GDPR and all that lot. So, and here there's like all physical stuff, cultural identity and all this kind of thing. So I'm not asking for any of that. So I'm absolutely convinced they're blind because I put that there. But I'm also putting as well, consider that if you allow Mavic type drones to be shot down, you're also putting your own police drones at risk, search and rescue, because they use exactly the same type of drones. So I'm putting that in again for the wider public interest here. So I've just said to them, here's the evidence. The AIB have also reported on it. They have to adhere to GDPR and data protection as well. And given they're happy with the information that's out there, there shouldn't be any argument. But if they do argue, I'll go at ICO. I think the ICO will just be siding with me straight off with what I've seen so far. And obviously I can go further if for some reason they didn't. So I think I'm on to a fair one of winning this, and I don't think they should have messed me about to the degree they have already on it.
Yes,
well, quite. It's become a sport within the ranks of the US government service. Oh, let's mess them about. See who can string them out the longest.
If I be a game, now this is long. This is
refused.
Yes, this is Department for Transport. I've actually tagged in a journalist that had a very notable victory on freedom of information recently. This big piece has been written on it, and he did reply as well. And basically, this one is going to be. It's not impossible to fight, but it's a harder one. But it's this one here has given me some more insights because there was an email that was talking about drones, and it had this date, had this number 18/12/20. Which initially, if you try to look at that as a normal UK formatted date, you'd think this was the 18th, the day before the Gatwick drones. I thought, well, I need to know what's going on here. Because if an email started before the drone turned up, it's very, very dodgy. But I thought, well, it could be police incident figures because we know they're always any old random number. But it turns out, for some bizarre reason, this is the date in reverse. So it's the 20th, day 2, the 12th, 18. So it's actually the second day of the Gatwick thing. So that bit's not dodgy. But the thing here is they are fighting this, and if you go down to their response and opening, which will be at the bottom, I've only had this exemption used. This is the second time. You have to keep going. These are comments where we discuss it as we were going through it.
Tell me when to stop. Oh, must have been back
just above. Yeah, just here. It's just above that comment there. Just go up to the next attachment. You see that one there. Download. So I put in a number of questions. To be fair, at least I've got answers to these, even though it's not answering everything. It's not answering the freedom of information itself. By the way, though, I do think I can fight bits of this for definite because they haven't even shown me the email with the redaction. If you go down a bit further, because it should be my questions and their answers. Yeah, so this is it. So basically, I was saying, what was the number related to? So they've explained it was the date format, when was it sent. But what they're doing here is they're saying we cannot show you this because they've got what's called the legal privilege. The idea really, the intent of this was if you went to get legal advice, and then that solicitors then or lawyer, whatever, is sending out information back. There's confidentiality involved then because you're dealing with legal documents back and forth and whatnot. And when it's external, I can see that there's kind of You know, for example, if you were sending something as a solicitor to another party, you wouldn't want that being freedom of information because of the, you know, obviously the content of it. But if the recipient, they can waive the privilege and say, no, it's fine, it can be shown. But the problem here is you've got the DFT and they haven't gone out to any external legal. It's their own lawyer that they employ. So they're using this to say, our lawyer speaking to somebody else in another department is getting legal privilege. And it doesn't have to stand legal privilege because they could waive it because they're the client as well. But obviously they don't want to. So all what they're really saying is, we don't want you to read this email, and hiding behind this bit of the freedom of information. So for the conversation about, people said that morally this is kind of wrong. It's gaming the freedom of information, but it is allowed to do. But the interesting here though is that I've got them to put a name to it. So I said, who is making this decision? Who is refusing it? So we see they've pinned it on this bloke called Chris. They've said he wasn't involved in the handling of the Gatwick itself, but it's nice to at least put names to things. So if later on further things come back, you can point it out. But you can see again, this has been dealt by the Deputy Director for Aviation Security Strategy and Policy. There's always somebody in the security bit of, no, we mustn't have shown, we can't let the world know that an airport made a mistake, and we consider it more important to cover that up than looking after the drone community. But that's the way it feels anyway. So yes, with this one, I will just have to mull that over. But at least I know it's not something that started before the incident, which was really what I was trying to find out. So it's another thing I can just tick off the list. There has been another freedom of information that, it's funny enough actually, because he's been in the news today. He's one of the most senior police officers in England, Neil Basu, and he'd done an email he'd forwarded that had gone from the Met to Sussex Police, and it was telling Sussex Police that if you want to get the public on side and for them to be reassured there was a drone, you should be giving them a timeline, and we know that was for. But I never knew exactly who it landed with, and I've been given the names, and it had gone to Joe Shiner, who is the current Chief Constable of Sussex Police. So they can't even say the staff that are there now don't know that they should have been putting out a timeline because it's gone specifically to her. So it was just interesting to know that that's maybe why they're still a bit twitchy about it. So it's just chipping away, getting a little bit more information. The truth. There's other stuff out there that's looking for some juicier stuff, but I'm waiting back on stuff at the minute. So it's just a bit of a waiting game, and so we will find out in later weeks what all the juicy stuff we get.
It'll be very interesting when you're at DroneX. There's quite a few people that we've had conversations about that go to DroneX. You're going to be in the room with them. I'm going to say, I do wonder if there'll be like some DFT security people in there, counter UAS military suppliers or whatever else, and they'll be like, hello. If you're watching, you know who you are.
Do you come for a ride in our black helicopter? Oh.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. What can SES News afford? I don't know. Not even a black cab.
Reliant Robin.
Reliant Robin, absolutely, something like that. Well, that's excellent. Now, I am going to say, is there any more for any more?
No,
going once, going twice. We look forward
very much to find. Before you go, here we go. We've got to check the Twitter, haven't we? We've got to see if there's an airport, on fire or something. There's always something going down airport-wise, isn't there?
So often, just as we finish, and I think it's probably Bruce's fault that something happens in the world very often.
A network of friends all around the world. Did you see? I noticed a piece. I was watching these streams from the riots. There was a guy, DJE Media, and he's got a 250 Mini. He was flying there, and you could see the helicopter. He's up here, and the helicopter's up here, and he was looking at the helicopter through his drone. I'm thinking, I wonder if anyone's going to complain about that. I mean, because the wide-angle camera on a DJI Mini, if you can see a helicopter reasonably close, you're pretty close to that helicopter. But and he was, busy dealing with the riots and things. I personally probably wouldn't have flown my drone in that situation, but he chose to fly his. I wonder if there any repercussions.
Yeah, I'm surprised someone did, because I noticed I didn't check them all, but I noticed initially that the police had put up no-fly zones. I think.
Yeah,
I assume they would have been.
I think
that's one in Liverpool now. I think that's one actually in. I think in Liverpool.
The Southport one was the one I saw, because this was the first one. They didn't realise probably what was going to happen, so they wouldn't have put up TFRs or anything.
It was.
I did. Oh, has it, mate? You better rewind this one, mate.
When I saw the videos that were going up, the National Police Air Service helicopters were all quite low. And I did what I thought, are you doing that so they know you're there? Because obviously a lot of people commenting and knowing the helicopter. And I think I think it's certainly some of them were causing them to behave more because they knew they'd be what. It turns out that when they replied, which was nice of them, and said, when we're looking at a crowd that big, we're better off coming down low and literally just looking out at the windows. So that's what they were doing, is they were coming down. So instead of looking through the camera, you might use a camera occasionally for stuff. It was more of, we'd rather just look at it with our eyes. I just thought that was a bit of an interesting insight, No,
they're trying to blow out the flames when they set their rubbish bin on fire outside the immigrant hotel.
Yeah, it's shocking what's happened. But in terms of riots, it's not very impressive.
No, there's only a very small number of people doing the rioting.
You come around here, you want riots. You come around here, destroyed all our major shopping malls. Yeah, oh yeah. It's in the lesson plans. We have to do it. It's it's a skill. It's a skill qualification. But what I'm trying to say about that, not being too frivolous, is it's getting way more press than it probably really deserves. And unfortunately, that's
the media's driving up the narrative anyway. As usual.
Exactly.
That's so interesting. It was so interesting to watch the live streams from people in the crowd and in the media portrayal, because the one outside Downing Street, they arrested everybody, and 99% of the people were just regular folks, peaceful, just standing there, and they all got arrested. That made peaceful demonstration an arrestable offence in the UK, and I think that's where the whole thing kicked off. That's where it kicked off.
But it is, isn't it?
The problem we've got with the UK is, and I know about how it works because I've gone and I've filmed a demo when it happened here, and so you could see the tactics. And basically, the police are a little bit naughty because they know how to make it kick off to an extent. In that, if they've got a group and for whatever reason, it must have a chief constable, someone, whoever makes these decisions, they think, well, we're going to kettle them in. We'll hold them there. So you've got no, at the end of the day, you're all crushed in together. You've got no toilet or anything to go to. And this is the one thing where they love for the press, is they go, oh, look, they're having a piss there, they're having a crap there. It's because you've kept them stuck there for 8 hours. But it's to say, oh, look, they're animals. So it's doing that kind of tricks on people. But Bruce is right then. I think that made it worse in Keir Starmer when he's gone. It's just, you want a statesman, you want somebody that's going to try and diffuse the situation, de-escalate it, and he's more throwing petrol at it, to be fair.
All sides are using it as an excuse to do to further their own causes.
It's political. It's like everyone's politicizing it, and no one's really trying to step it down. So
we should just blame Gary, and that's the end of it.
Yes,
I mean, the only good news is for all these weeks, we're not going to hear drones. Drones just aren't worth being put in the media.
Exactly.
So we're going to get a free run of it all.
I just hope that some of these radical right wingers don't fly a drone into a police helicopter. You've got to worry.
Absolutely right.
I would say that some of the police drone teams have been involved in this, but normally on the social media where they show stuff and that, I've probably been told not to with this, but we haven't seen any video.
I've got to write about that drone. Did you see that drone in the box? I can't remember where it was. I think it was near.
Oh, it was a DJI one that's been done here.
Yeah, but did you see the installations? Cables everywhere. It was a complete. You know, it was terrible. The installation was terrible. And you're thinking, well, is this the way of drones in the box? It's such an awful.
Was this the 2 or the 1? Was this the 2?
I think it was. I don't know which version of the box it was, but whoever set it up, there's cables everywhere. It looked a complete shambles. Not the box, but the actual cables going into it around.
Because if you're the one who installs it, you need to be qualified or you need to be trained by whatever vendor from DJI. You have to go. I think you have to go to Netherlands or even Germany.
That's cruel and unusual punishment.
It's and you have to do it their way. It's like, you know, you have to be really specific about how it's installed and also maintained. So it's quite interesting that if it's I look forward to seeing that.
Yeah, you make a good point, because if we saw that NATO counter UAS stuff as well, it looked really bad. It was cables everywhere. It was literally three 3-pin mains plugs in extension leads into extension leads, flipped into a pelly case where the rain still could have gotten and frazzled the whole lot. And on this bit, someone could be doing standard. It could be some kind of like XLR kind of plugs where they clip in and hold in and all this lot, and just like neat old power over Ethernet, where IP rated one with just nice, neat and tidy, click, done.
You rather negate your special training. DJI give you, whoever gives you special training, and you've got your certificate, and then all the wiring around it is a complete Horlicks. It just completely negates that. That's what I saw in that.
I'm pretty sure I spotted an aeroscope in some of that live stream footage. The police are huddled around the screen. So they probably were surveilling, keeping an eye on drone operations. This was later on. I think it was the one. It was late on Sunday, I think, or might have been Monday in Portsmouth. Can't remember.
Plymouth.
Well, it wasn't on the beach. It was one where there was a big long street and they were on opposite sides of the street.
That's Plymouth, isn't it?
Plymouth, is
my nephew, the barrister, he was delighted because when he got kicked off, he got pulled out of court with the judge because they thought the judge was a target and got sent to a pub. So he spent the day in the pub. But anyway, he was delighted with that one. He's very, very, very pleased with that one. But Plymouth might have that stuff on board. Are the Navy is still in Plymouth, aren't they? Surely. So they might have that stuff for that sort of thing. But we're going well over time now. So I'm gonna from the cushion liberated front.
Just let you know that there's no airports burning. There's nothing closed down. There's no
nothing. Good.
Just oil though. We should give them a mention. They have tried to close down Manchester Airport now, but they nabbed them before they got there.
About time. Manchester.
Spray orange paint everywhere. That'll fix it.
About time. Dear viewer, wherever you are in the world, thank you very much for joining us. Looking forward to talking to Stu from UAV Futures next week, and hopefully he can give us a run through of the site and DIYFPV.com. Not open yet, but sign up. The first 100 will get something. I don't know.
Free gaming chair from Ian.
From Ian, that's right. Or a packet of biscuits, Ian's biscuits. That's the branding we've got to see, isn't it? Is Ian's biscuits.
That's
so we'll see you. New merch, 2100 gin and tonic next week. Dear viewers, look after yourselves. Be careful. We'll see you next week, and I should have had the clicks ready. Bye for now. There's one.